The Earth has a solid, very hot core. Now we say solid because we don't know the actual composition of that core right now. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. We don't know the exact composition of that core, but we know that it's hot, and we know that it has some solid nature about it. But that provides the heat that keeps this planet from becoming a frozen ball of ice in the middle of space. If we didn't have this hot core, this planet would not be as productive as it is today. Has to have it. Outside that core is a mantle that's also molten. And then there's only about maybe 20 to 30 miles of crust on the outside of that, maybe 40 miles in some places. Can you imagine if there's only 40 miles of crust on top of all this hot stuff underneath? But you know, my grandson works in a mine about 3,000 feet down. He says, Grandpa, when I get down there, it's about 130 degrees. Yeah. They have to have ventilation to keep it cool down up there. And the diamond mines in South Africa, 150 degrees down there in those mile-deep diamond mines. They have to have ventilation to keep themselves cooled off.
Deadwood, South Dakota. In the gold mine, Deadwood, South Dakota.
Yes.
Hot.
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 Now, this molten material that's below the crust, we live on the crust, it's still molten underneath. You see it cooled. It's gradually cooling. And that molten matter is there, and if there's a crack or something, a volcano comes through that, and volcanoes are occurring all the time, so that material is there. So as you drill down, I've been on lots of wells. I've been on some that were nearly 20,000 feet deep, and it would take over 2 hours for the sample to come up. And when I reached out to get the sample, the mud was hot, and the sample was still warm. So it's a temperature gradient as you go down. That's below the groundwater. The groundwater keeps it cool from there on down. It's just the way God made it, where it can be a continent that's moving all the time. And plate tectonics and continental drift you'll see in a minute.
I believe that the Earth and the solar system that this Earth is a part of is actually the center of the universe. Now, I have plenty of evidence I can present for that, such as redshift and things like this. I won't go into that because that's a different subject altogether. I have it written in this book right here if you want to read it. But I don't want to get into it right now. But I believe that the cross is the center of the universe. Everything in the universe is pointed toward the cross, three-dimensionally, in all directions. Yes, sir, Brother Carl?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yes, sir.
Don't answer questions yet. You go at the end.
This place right here, according to Psalms 115, is a lifeboat.
Yes.
Psalm 115 says, "The heavens are the abode of God. The earth hath he given to the sons of men to dwell therein." People, this earth is where this is our vantage point. We are not going to be going too far away from this place right here. I guarantee you that. Before the end of time, we're going to be confined to this solar system. I don't think men are ever going to reach the stars. Because that's God's abode. Do you think he wants us out there contaminating his place that he lives in? I don't think so.
No, that's the third heaven.
That's the third heaven. That's right. I don't think he even wants us out there.
And you know, the first heaven is where the birds are, and the second one is where the sun, moon, and star, and the third heaven is where God is.
That's right.
But as we look at all of these situations, you can see where Baja California is just splitting apart, and that's part of, and that goes right up to San Andreas Fault, which is all those earthquakes. But here's what I believe about it, and only God knows. There's nothing ever mentioned about other creations. I don't believe there's anything out there that's all for us to examine the heavens, declare the glory of God, and that there's nothing out there, and if the earth is not the center of the universe, I believe it's the center of interest in the universe to God.
Good.
That's where he gave his son, that's where he died, and that's where he came, and that's where we are.
That's right.
He created Adam in the paradise on earth.